Hey guys, what's going on? My name's John. Welcome to my shop. Just kind of show you around. Working on a 1927 Model T coupe, building a hot rod out of it. Built a frame from scratch, small block Ford, C4 automatic. Kind of building like not really a true traditional, being it's got the small block Ford in it. It's going to be, I don't know, just something that I like. My idea of a hot rod, white walls, chrome reverse rims, just kind of a basic paint job, and just go out and just kick around in it. So kind of show you what we got going on. First thing what I did was, of course, got measurements off the car, what motor, how the motor is going to set in there, and from there I built or made a poster board template of the frame. And on that, being I was going to replicate two frame rails, I put all my important marks, reference marks, cuts, everything. That way just kind of stay consistent when you're doing both frame rails and that. And you can actually lay this on top with magnets and plop your lines out and go from there. What I did first was I found me a reference mark in the car, which I'm using the body mount. So off of that, I can measure forward or backwards. That way I got a consistent, just a good reference mark, because as this, you move stuff around, you cut it, you weld it, stuff will move around. Stuff might get sanded off, ground off, wiped off. So, but anyway, that's the way I did it. I used like I said, using a front body mount as my reference point, and from there, like I said, I laid out my taper. It goes from 4-inch, tapers down to 3-inch, goes to the front of the car. From there, I made my pie cuts because this frame actually kicks up a little bit. So made these cuts, came back, frame came up, made these cuts, brought it back down. So this front of the frame and the main part are level. So once we get our ride height and everything set up, with the rear suspension, front suspension, those two should stay consistent with each other, as well as the rear kick up. First thing what I did was I did the taper, basically laid out and pretty much shaved the bottom of the frame rail, and then I cut basically just a sliver out of there, and then I came back, clamped it, tack welded it with the MIG, and then came back and then TIG welded it all. Did both rails kind of like a production line. Once I had the frame tapered and I was happy with that, I dressed the welds down, pretty much made them mimic so it looks like it's just one piece of tubing. That's the way it was made. That's kind of look I was going for. I didn't want to, Then next what we did the pie cut to where it kicked the frame up. That was done in this area here. Made some cuts with the bandsaw, portable bandsaw, and just kind of worked it up, got to the angle I wanted, and then again with the MIG kind of closed them up, and then we came down where we wanted to level it out, made pie cuts in the bottom, and welded, just tacked them all up, did both rails, and then came back and welded all those up, and then dressed the welds down. Next thing what we did was, or I did, I don't know who we is, but next thing I did was I took a piece of 2x4 box tubing for the kick up here, and what I did, pretty much the same thing what I did on the front of the frame. I shaved it down, brought it in to where when it came up met this 3-inch piece, it just had a nice flow. You go from the 4, tapers down to the 3. No, you're not ever going to see it, but I just thought it was a nicer look than just putting a 90-degree piece and making it like that. When it's all said and done, after all the mock-up's done, I'm happy with it. I'll go ahead and I'm gonna put some fish plates just from extra reinforcement there. But there again, like I said, it's 3/16 wall. You know, all the weld grooves were chamfered and MIG'd in. So and then once those were done, the rear frame, I laid everything out here on the table. As you can see, crude, but it works. And I took a cut out of here and a cut out of here, and then basically bent them in. So the front of the frame tapers an inch on each side. That way it wasn't so gangly sticking out the front with that small block. It's not a very big motor, so I didn't want a bunch of frame sticking out. So we did that, got everything trued up, made sure the frame was square, and then next step, I cut some windows out in the front of the frame here. Got this cross member from Speedway. It's one of their 2-inch drop cross members from Model A, and recessed that back inside. Got it tacked into place, and I'll be able to go in there and weld it on the inside of the rail, and then I'll probably drill some holes, put a couple rosettes out here. But I think just even welding it all the way around, you're gonna be plenty strong. And then when it's all said and done, I might maybe drop a couple gussets in there just side to side. So, but anyway, that paper template really came in handy because it was nice just for reference, and just having everything right there wrote out. One thing I stress is, you know, write stuff down. I mean, measurements, either notebook and pen or dry erase board, or write it on the workbench or wherever. Man, write the measurements down. When I say I squared the frame up, some of you may not be familiar with that, because you can have frame rails that are identical, cross members that are identical, but you still get some what they call racking, where one side may be out of whack from the other side. So to remedy that, I came off of my body mount lines. You know, these are my front body mount lines, basically just centered on there. I measured back to 2 common points, put 2 sheet metal screws in there where I can hook a tape measure and go from this left rear to the right front, and then from the right front or right rear to the left front. I have 2 points that I marked center of the tubing. Same thing from the front, or from the front body mount forward, I made marks. So essentially, you know, everything should be measured lengthwise, should be right. But anyway, doing those crisscross measurements, that ensures that one rail is not further forward or further back than the other one. That way, when you start welding your cross members, you know you're going to be square and true. So like I said, that way, just when you start putting stuff on there, it's not going to dog track or anything weird. And then also, before I put this cross member in, I found the center of it and drilled a small hole, which down the road it'll serve as a pilot hole